Hey, if you're watching this right now, give this video a thumbs up. Little actions like this help small channels like mine become big channels. Thanks. And starting with just about the cutest book I've ever seen, Pride Puppy, written by Robin Stevenson and Julie McLaughlin. Why do people want to ban Pride Puppy? A, dogs need leash laws. B, gays shouldn't have fun in public. C, there's no law saying a dog can't get married. Or D, use of words underwear and drag queen. And that's right, the answer is D, use of the words underwear and drag queen. In this adorable ABC book, a small puppy gets lost in a pride parade, and they go through the book letter by letter, talking about the things that they see as they are looking for their lost dog. Now, this book is colorful, chaotic, and a little bit of fun because they're going to a pride parade. There's a lot of rainbows going on. There's a dog running around. There is no mention of the words underwear or drag queen in the main story that a teacher would be reading aloud. In fact, it is not until the very end where we find this page where you're supposed to hidden picture style go back and find the word in the story. There's got to be 100 words here. Each letter has like a dozen or more options. And if you come all the way over to letter U, one of the hardest letters, the word underwear is there. Let's zoom in and find the person wearing underwear. Here he is. Take note here, he's got pants on. And same with the drag queen. Drag is a form of theater. It's a form of art. And the drag queens in this story are standing on parade floats. They're completely age-appropriate drag queens. So, but if you want to throw an entire adorable little book out over that, then you don't deserve this book anyway. Let's go to the next book. Hey, it's Natalie, and welcome back to Primary Focus, the Parent's Guide to Elementary School. Y'all, I have to be honest with you. I've had a really hard time making banned book videos in 2025. The political landscape has been really alarming and depressing, but I swear the librarians of the Charlotte Public Library really wanted me to make this video today because every single book I needed was in stock. Usually when I make these videos, I spend weeks waiting to get all of my books off of holds before I can film, but I was able to pick them all up on the same day that I started my research. So if you're a librarian, this one's for you. Things got pretty serious this summer when the Supreme Court ruled on Mahmud versus Taylor. This Supreme Court case represents parents from Montgomery County School District in Maryland who are upset about supplemental LGBTQ+ books in the curriculum. These books were not necessarily read aloud by teachers, but they were available in class and could be used in everyday lessons. The school district made guides that went with each book to help teachers answer any questions that may come up and handle concerns with sensitivity. Now, previously, parents who didn't want their children exposed to these nasty books had the option of signing an opt-out form, and their child would be sent to the library for that portion of class. When the district got rid of the option for opt-out, they were sued by a group of parents representing a variety of religions. These parents are making a claim that the new policy infringes on their religious freedoms. Many are morally opposed to same-sex marriage and refuse to recognize the LGBTQ+ community. They believe that the school is violating their religious rights. These books are at risk of being banned because they're all related to the LGBTQ+ community, but the reasoning for some of them is wild. We're going to walk through books from each grade level, preschool up to 5th grade. And though they're not banned by the Supreme Court or the federal government, several of these books were already banned or challenged across the country. And the ones that weren't are certainly under a lot of scrutiny now. Friends, this video is important because I fear this is the beginning of book bannings from the federal government. The United States is famous for not banning books. We have freedom of speech that extends to our libraries, bookstores, public schools, where books should be available to all. And if we don't step in, this could just be the beginning. So now, let's take a look at these nasty books. Here's the kindergarten book, Uncle Bobby's Wedding by Sarah S. Brannon. Now, I should mention here, there are 2 versions of Uncle Bobby's Wedding. In 2008, the original version was published here with these 2 gerbils, rats, capybaras. And then in 2020, the author re-illustrated the book with human characters. This was the version I could get from the library, and both versions are in wide circulation. The story isn't changed at all, just new illustrations. Let's take a look into this nasty book. We've got our main character, Chloe. She wants to know why they're getting married, and they are explaining throughout the book that when 2 people are in love and they decide to get married, that is a celebration. Chloe's excited because now she has another uncle. The uncles seem to really like to wear blazers blazers and vests without shirts. Even on their wedding day, they're going for this very sort of like cummerbund over the fur kind of look. But I don't know. If I was a hamster, I guess this is what we can do. But yeah, Bobby and Jamie get married, and there's all the little mice and gerbils and rats and stuff that are there to celebrate. This is kind of your classic book that is almost explaining traditions and what things are like and how to celebrate people for kindergarten. So why, oh why, do people want to ban Uncle Bobby's Wedding by Sarah S. Brannon? A, they wear blazers without shirts. B, the characters in the book don't get married in a church. C, Ted Cruz looks like a rat and he's sensitive about it. Or D, the wedding is presented as a celebration. And that's right, you got it. D, the wedding is presented as a celebration. Here's text from the ruling. Quote, "It is significant that the book does not simply refer to same-sex marriage as an existing practice. Instead, it presents acceptance of same-sex marriage as a perspective that should be celebrated." So the crime here is that we have presented a wedding as a celebration. Find me a culture where it isn't. Getting married is special because you found a partner for life. I can't imagine anything more worthy of being celebrated. I think that is absolutely ridiculous that the expectation is when we present a plot in a story, we have to also include the subtext of people who might not be happy with the plot. Books would be ruined if that is the expectation of authors, to share every single viewpoint of people. I found a quote from the author Sarah S. Brannon, and she said, "Uncle Bobby's Wedding is a gentle little story about a family. I've read so many comments talking about sex being inappropriate in books for kindergartners. There is no sex in my book. It is a story about a family that ends with everybody dancing at a wedding." This is a fairly platonic, sweet little book about the kind of thing that a lot of kids are a part of. If you had a child who was going to be involved in a wedding ceremony, I think this would be a really great book to use for them so that they can kind of expect what would happen in the day. Hey, real quick, I could use your help actually. These videos often get a lot of thumbs down on them, which hurts their reach. If you're watching, could you hit the thumbs up button for me? And if you're really moved, leave a comment with the red crayon emoji to show your support. Thanks. Okay, hold on. Why is this book banned? I can't find where the gay is. Coming in hot with the first grade book, Intersection Allies, We Make Room for All by Chelsea Johnson, LaToya Council, and Carolyn Choi. Why, oh why, do people want to ban intersection allies? A, it shows children at protests. B, it shows children in wheelchairs. C, they show children speaking Spanish. Or D, on page 19, it says bathrooms should be a safe space. And you got it. D, on page 19, the only mention of a child in the LGBTQ plus community, it says bathroom should be a safe space. Where is it? These are just like about different types of kids and their family life. Okay. Some may be confused that a kid like me can wear what I want and be proud and carefree. My friends defend my choices in place. A bathroom, like all rooms, should be a safe space. And that's it. That's the only part of the story that mentions anything about the LGBTQ community. I mean, I guess at the end here, they have note to parents about all the different characters and things. A teacher is not going to get up in front of the classroom and read this because it's not part of the story. It's not designed to be read aloud to students. So what was the outcome of this Supreme Court case? On June 27th, 2025, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the board's no opt-out policy likely burdens parents' free exercise of religion, and that the opt-out policy and notice of books being read should be reinstated. What does that mean? Bring back the opt-out forms. I'm going to read to you from the SCOTUS blog here, which is a really great resource to break down Supreme Court cases. Those suing contended that the school board's refusal to let them excuse the children from this instruction violated their First Amendment rights in two ways. One, it robbed them of their ability to instruct their children on issues of gender and sexuality according to their faiths. And two, it burdened their right to control how and when their children are exposed to these issues. I'm sorry, but one of the biggest philosophical challenges in parenting is that we can't control every last thing that kids are exposed to. And my guess is that if you're already morally opposed to people being gay or non-binary, you don't plan to expose your children to this ever. So they're going to be exposed, and it's not going to happen on your terms. Now, conservative Justice Alito said in the ruling that the parents are not trying to micromanage the public school curriculum, but instead let their children opt out of particular educational requirements that are in the way of their religion. But Justice Sotomayor dissented, saying the decision threatens the very essence of public education because it strikes the core of the premise of public schools, that children may come together to learn not the teachings of a particular faith, but a range of concepts and views that reflect our entire society. Now, I'm sure this isn't a surprise here, but I agree with Justice Sotomayor. We have to teach kids to be good people. We have to show them how to cooperate in groups. The beauty of school is that kids are in public for the first time, but in a very protected space where we can teach them how to be good little people. Part of that is reflecting the views of society to make sure that kids can operate in society. When I saw this ruling, it made me wonder, how far is this going to go? Can parents opt out from having children with gay parents in their class? Can students opt out of using a child's preferred pronouns? And taking this away from being gay, what if a child is vegetarian because of their religion and we do a unit on where food comes from, right? Can they opt out of the lesson about meat? Should I remove every book in my classroom that mentions chicken nuggets or turkey sandwiches? Should we ban meat entirely because there are families that don't believe in eating meat for religious reasons? This is the slippery slope that I'm worried about. And it may sound pedantic to talk through, but this is the thinking here. Court cases all set important precedents that interconnect and influence future cases. In particular, rulings from the Supreme Court are used to guide how we interpret existing laws. So the outcomes here could be really scary. And further, let's just call this what it is. We're discriminating against the LGBTQ plus community. You'll be surprised at some of the quotes and things we're going to talk about in this video. But the thing is, same-sex couples get to send their kids to public school just like everybody else. We cannot pretend that these communities don't exist and aren't present in the school system. I mean, imagine what it would feel like to have kids get sent out of class to the library during one of the rare times that the teacher gets to acknowledge that your family exists. And the rest of the time, we can't really acknowledge your family structure. And when Jimmy's moms get to come in with cupcakes on his birthday, will those kids get excused to the library too because we're teaching it's acceptable to have two moms? You know, it's not uncommon for same-sex couples to act like they're single parents to avoid discrimination from the school. When I was teaching, there were a few times over the years when I discovered later on that I had two moms or two dads. Every time this happened, I wondered, why didn't I know sooner? Had I done something to make them feel uncomfortable? Had I sent messaging out that I wasn't a safe classroom for them? But I've come to realize over time that it wasn't me at all. It's court cases and legislation like this that say you are not welcome here. Do not come as you are, which influence same-sex couples to fade into the background and to hide themselves. Even where I taught, the paperwork that came from the school district and from the state asked for information of the mother and the father, making a statement that families with a father and a father are not welcomed before they ever entered the school building. If you're watching right now and you're wondering how to help, I've got some organizations in the description to support. And if you want to see more banned book videos from me, you can support by becoming a member on YouTube or Patreon. You can also do a one-time thanks by buying me a coffee or sending me a super thanks on YouTube. Next up, My Rainbow by Trinity and Deshauna Neal. Why, oh why, do people want to ban My Rainbow? A, that wig looked awful. B, it's weird to have a pet pig. C, they're barefoot most of the book. Or D, the main character is a transgender girl. And you got it, D, the main character is a transgender girl. This story is so cute. It is written by a mother-daughter duo. They base this on their own lives. So you can see it is about a little girl named Trinity. They're at home. They've got this pet pig that's throughout the story. Trinity is a little autistic Black girl living her best life, but she is feeling a little bit of stress about the length of her hair. So she and her mom are problem solving in the book about what are we going to do about this? Are we going to get, a wig? Are we going to get hair extensions? And finally, the mom and the brother decide that they want to do something special. And the mom makes her this gorgeous rainbow wig. And she's so excited and wears it around the house. It is really, really cute. And I don't really understand why a book like this needs to be pulled from shelves. I think this book is written for kids that need it, who need to see themselves represented, for kids who maybe have friends or family that are just like Trinity. These are the kinds of books that give a voice to kids that very often don't see themselves represented in the media. And this stuff makes a really, really big difference. This is what I'm going to say though. Of all the books, My Rainbow isn't specifically mentioned in the ruling, and I am so thankful for that. This book is written by a mother-daughter team, it is based on their life, and it is very clear throughout the book that the main character Trinity is a Black autistic transgender girl. It would be devastating to hear the Supreme Court justices making an example out of her. So let's hold a little bit of space for our main character Trinity and all the kids that see themselves in her. I would hate to see her story get caught up any further in this mess. And I hope they keep writing books like this, because there is somebody out there who really needed to see a story like Trinity's. 3rd grade. Why oh why do people want to ban Prince and Knight? A, violent scenes with a dragon. B, marriage is an adult topic. C, they drink wine at dinner. Or D, they present the concept of being gay as if it's universally accepted. And you got it. D, they present the concept of being gay as if it's universally accepted. Now, I've covered this book before because it comes up on banned book lists a lot. I dove more into it in this banned book video here. It is like a classic olden days, dragons, fairy godmothers type of fairy tale. We have Prince here, and he is trying to find his partner for life, and then he meets Knight and he falls in love. It is a classic tale. It is really cute. Yes, there's some light slaying of dragons going on, a little bit of magic, a little bit of adventure, and I think anyone who's kind of into the fairy tale thing would really enjoy this. Sadly, if you are a child growing up in certain school districts in Texas, Montana, West Virginia, or Florida, you may not get to enjoy this because it has been pulled from shelves or contested. I want to read a page to you that comes up in the ruling, the very last page of the book. It reads, "And on the two men's wedding day, the air filled with cheer and laughter, for the prince and his charming knight would live happily ever after." The end. This is a book that is essentially a kid's fairy tale story. It follows the same pattern as classic fairy tales, and so it's right that it ends with the wedding at the end. It's supposed to feel a little bit like Cinderella. But here's a quote from the ruling. "Those celebrating same-sex weddings are not just family members and close friends, but the entire kingdom. For young children to whom this and the other storybooks are targeted, such celebration is liable to be processed as having moral connotations. If this same-sex marriage makes everyone happy and leads to joyous celebration by all, doesn't that mean it is in every respect a good thing?" Going on, it says, "High schoolers may understand that the widespread approval of a practice does not necessarily mean that everyone should accept it. But very young children are most unlikely to appreciate that fine point." Why do we need to teach that fine point? Same-sex marriage is legal in the US. So haven't we decided that as a country, it is, in every respect, a good thing? Reading this quote took my breath away. I thought this case was about books in school, and now it feels like we're debating whether or not same-sex marriage should be legal. What is happening here? Just like with the book Uncle Bobby's Wedding, at what point do we have to add social commentary for every possible opinion to the plot? Does the author have to add a line saying, "And the entire kingdom was happy except for a couple of people who couldn't mind their business"? Keep in mind, teachers are not using these books to teach about same-sex marriage. They're using these books talking about the setting, the characters, the problem and solution. We don't just pick books to only teach the lesson that is in them. These are connected back to the curriculum. I'm not going to spend my time reading a book like this and then give them the history of same-sex marriage in the United States. I'm going to give them a chart where they can fill out the problem and solution. Chloe was a little nervous about the wedding, and then Chloe found out that the wedding wasn't a big deal and she actually had fun. Problem, solution. 4th grade. Why do people want to ban Love Violet? A, the kids have a male teacher. B, we shouldn't be talking about crushes in school. C, Mira and Violet are a biracial couple. Or D, we shouldn't be talking about gay crushes in school. And you got it. It's D, we shouldn't be talking about gay crushes in school. In this story, Mira has a crush on Violet. Valentine's Day is coming up, and she's trying to figure out what to do. It is not, should I ask her out on a date or anything like that. She's actually debating the entire time how to sign the Valentine and say, "From Violet, sincerely Violet, love Violet." While some people might be a little bit concerned about, romance and things like that in school, I think this is absolutely on the elementary school level about what to do with your feelings, how to express how you're feeling to friends, to family, and how you want to leave your mark when you are writing a letter, when you are communicating with people. Alas, because it is a gay crush and not a heteronormative crush, this is the kind of thing that people would hate to see in our schools. 5th grade. Why do people want to ban Born Ready? A. Pretending to be a ninja encourages violence. B. The children have to wear uniforms to school. C. Girls rule, boys drool. Or D. In a tender scene with the mother, adults may interpret the mother's support as a promise to get gender-affirming medical care even though there's no mention of it whatsoever. And that's right, it's D. In a tender scene with the mother, adults may interpret the mother's support as a promise to get gender-affirming medical care, even though there's no mention of it whatsoever. Let's take a look inside this book. Born Ready is about a child that is 4, turning 5 years old, and feels like they're a boy. Penelope is talking to their family about this. The family shows a way to be supportive, a way to talk about these feelings. I want to read to you this page before I dive into what the ruling actually said. Penelope is trying to explain why they're feeling so angry to the mom. Time out. Peppy, why are you so angry? Mama asks. Because everyone thinks I'm a girl. However you feel is fine, baby. It's what's on the inside that matters most. If you feel like a boy, that's okay. No, Mama, I don't feel like a boy. I am a boy. Oh? Mama gets quiet. I love you, Mama, but I don't want to be you. I want to be Papa. I don't want tomorrow to come because tomorrow I'll look like you. Please help me, Mama. Help me be a boy. I hold Mama's hand and I transfer some of my ninja powers for her to understand. And this is the part I want you to listen closely to. Then Mama says the best word that I've ever heard. Yes. She says, we will make a plan to tell everyone we love what we know. What's that? You are a boy. For the first time, my insides don't feel like fire. They feel like warm, golden love. Now I want to tell you what the ruling says about that. They said, quote, not only does the story convey the message that Penelope is a boy simply because she chooses to be, but it slyly conveys a positive message about transgender medical procedures. Where? They make a plan and then they spend the rest of the book telling everybody he's a boy. I've read this book several times trying to find where they are implying that he is about to go get medical treatment. And it just isn't there. They're not talking about surgery. They're not talking about puberty blockers or anything else. And even if that was something that the author wanted to put in for some reason, it really wouldn't make sense to the plot because the kid is literally turning 5 in the book. It wouldn't even make sense to bring that up as an option. Somehow an adult has read this and has decided to place on this book that they are talking about medical procedures, even though there's no discussion of it whatsoever. And this is some of the stuff that scares me about this case. Just because I know about things and can draw connections and wonder where this child's life is going to go doesn't mean that that is what is covered in the books. You can wonder what this child's life is going to be like, but there's nothing in this book that is implying that that is the direction things are going to go, especially because the child is so young. I want to read you another quote from this ruling that summarizes the overall thought process in this case. Like many books targeted at young children, these books are unmistakably normative. They are clearly designed to present certain values and beliefs as things to be celebrated and certain contrary views and beliefs as things to be rejected. When I read this, at first I thought, duh, this is what children's literature is all about. Like, it's normalizing things, it's teaching kids about behavior, it's sharing experiences with children. But then I became concerned because teachers spend a lot of time teaching social emotional learning and societal norms. In school, we are teaching children to be kind, we are teaching children to be accepting, how to work with other children. In a day and age where anti-bullying campaigns have become lifelines to children, we are now telling children that they can pick and choose who they are kind to. We're telling them that we are allowed to decide certain types of people are not normal and we should shun them and be excused from class when we talk about them? When did teaching children to be decent human beings become controversial? This case makes me really nervous about what other cases will go through because of Mahmoud versus Taylor, what changes school districts will be forced to make because of this, and that religious beliefs are being prioritized over the way that people are born. Friends, our public schools and libraries are under attack. Every single time I make one of these videos, the stakes get a little bit higher. If you go back and watch my original ones from September 2022, I'm referencing books that were banned and challenged decades ago. The concept seemed preposterous to me. I didn't think book bans were a major concern, and honestly, I decided to start this series because it was a trending topic on YouTube. But now I'm not covering Banned Books Week. I'm covering books that were banned by the entire state of Utah. And the Supreme Court is getting dangerously close to banning books themselves. When I see these books being challenged and banned, it represents far more than words on a page. It represents people's lives and the lengths people and our elected officials will go to disenfranchise some of the most vulnerable people in our country. Don't let them take you down, because it's just like the justices said. If these books make everyone happy and leads to joyous celebration by all, doesn't that mean it is, in every respect, a good thing? If you're interested in these books, there are links to buy every single one in the comments below from indie booksellers, and become a member to support Primary Focus so I can make more banned book videos like this. Thanks for watching, liking, and commenting on this video. I'll see you next time.